What's up, guys? We have some crazy news to go over today, the biggest of which is Jimmie Johnson announcing that 2020 will be his last full-time season as a Cup Series driver. I mean, this is kind of crazy news. He gets to decide when he is out of that ride. But before we get to talking a lot about Jimmie, let's talk about some just tiny bit, just like 3 separate pieces of news that are quite small that I have to go over here today. Okay, so first of all, Dale Earnhardt Jr. will be the honorary starter for the Daytona 500 next year in 2020. That was announced a few days ago. All that's next is him singing the national anthem, and he says he won't do that, but lots of peer pressure by fans, that is for sure. Next set of news is Jerry Baxter, last year 2019 season crew chief for Brett Moffitt championship for contender at GMS Racing. A GMS spokesperson announced today that Jerry Baxter is no longer with the organization of GMS, which makes him no longer the crew chief for Brett Moffitt or that entire GMS team, any driver in there, since we know they are really expanding a ton their Truck Series program. Okay, next set of news is the NASCAR Drive for Diversity program and Rev Racing have announced their lineup for 2020. I'm not going to go through every single driver in there, but Chase Cabry is once again in there after he's been in there for a couple to few years now in that. And yeah, he's won a few races in the ARCA Menard Series East, and next year he will be competing in that series again, and he will be competing in the ARCA Showdown, so that's nice to see there, and he will be competing for wins and championships in both of those series. Alright, so here is the big news. Jimmie Johnson not returning to Hendrick Motorsports full-time in that 48 car after the 2020 season. That means next season will be his last full-time Cup Series season. Oh, we're going to miss Jimmie. Now, this is on his own terms because we know Ally signed a contract through 2023, so it has nothing to do with sponsorship because they're full-on sponsors for the entire year on that 48 car. So, since Jimmie's out after 2020, that leaves 2021, 2022, and 2023 with Ally confirmed. There could be more for whoever the new driver in that 48 car is, or maybe it'll be a new number, or maybe Hendrick could possibly downsize to a 3-car team because we know that they're not great right now. Or Jimmie Johnson could do part-time schedule in that car and in the next gen car because that's when 2021 starts. And it's interesting that he decides to retire before that car comes out, like he doesn't want to race the car. Now, Kurt Busch did, and he signed a contract with Ganassi and Monster that allows him to race in that car, in the next gen car that comes in 2021. So that's pretty interesting there. I mean, that's pretty interesting. This is all on Jimmie Johnson's terms. 7-time champion, 83 wins, tied for 6th most all-time on the wins list, tied with Cale Yarborough for 83. And yeah, tied with as the most all-time, 7 championships, tied with Dale Earnhardt and Richard Petty. So who could possibly be in this car after Jimmie retires? So who could be in this car in 2021 and possibly beyond? I think it's the most likely is going to be Noah Gragson, who currently drives for Junior Motorsports in the 9 car in the NASCAR Xfinity Series. He's an okay driver, I would say. Get another year in Xfinity with Junior, and Junior's an affiliate of Hendrick, so I feel like he could get to that 48 car if they decide to call it 48 still, maybe renumber it to the 25 or 5, who knows what they would do. And so, yeah, that's pretty interesting there. Jimmie Johnson not returning full-time Cup Series to that 48. Well, not returning full-time Cup Series ever after 2020. So that means he won't be in that car. Interesting. Ally staying. Interesting with the next gen situation. Same with Kurt is staying for the next gen, So that's pretty interesting there. And little tiny news that I went over earlier about Dale Jr., Jerry Baxter, and Rev Racing in the Drive for Diversity program for NASCAR, and Chase Cabry obviously still in that program, which is nice to see. So thank you so much for watching this video, guys. He's a Tampa, Florida native, and yeah, thank you so much for watching, and bye guys.